My name is Mark Moyer. I'm with Win Again, and you're in the Clubroom, and I'm super excited to have three gentlemen here today. And what I mostly want to focus on today is really what their transition experience was like when they left the sport of football and what they're doing now. And then from there, who are some of the types of people that they would love to meet and speak with that can be really helpful to their businesses, because each one of them does some fantastic work. So on my screen, I'm going to start with Jed, since he's first on mine. Jed, do me a favor, and I know that you played for several years, and I think you played for, was it every team in the NFL? I think
just about the NFC.
And I could just, I don't know if you probably didn't have an agent. You just kind of sent out your resume or your 8x10 signature, signed, and I don't know. Is that how it works?
I will tell you, the best ticker to follow if you want to know if somebody got hurt is anything fantasy football related. I would actually check every Monday, Tuesday, who went down, what fullbacks are out, and then yes, me and my agent would go after those teams and say,
I love it.
Hey, he can get on a plane in an hour. Where are we headed?
I love it. I thought you were going to say you were going to check to see if you were injured or not on that list, but I guess not.
No, that was easier check.
So Jed, tell me a little bit about when you finally, when you retired, and it was a few years ago. Tell me a little bit about what that journey was like and what you're doing now, if you could.
I love it. Well, first off, never delay gratitude. Mark, love the community you're building. Mike, Cory, good to see you both. Again, yeah, I love the fraternity. I'll give you my story in 60 seconds. And truly, it's been a journey. I say that because in about 2008, I was on these walking into the NFL and bouncing around on practice squads. And I wrote in my journal that I'd love to come back and teach me, Jed, the rookie, this language of money. I was a business major. I got an accounting degree in college, but never did I have a class that said, here's $1,000 or $100,000. Here's what you're supposed to go do with it. That was 17 years ago. During my 7 years playing in the NFL, I actually started studying and became a certified financial planner. So in 2015, when I was transitioning out, I went into the wealth management kind of atmosphere, chasing this understanding of, well, I want to learn the language. What I came to realize was nobody was taught this language. At first, I was embarrassed that me, the big dumb jock, didn't understand it. But as I started to become a master and an expert in the field, I would go out and I'd teach sessions to high schools, colleges, companies, and I began to see the massive gap in our educational system. So in 2015, I started to challenge myself and said, hey, if we were going to teach this in school, let's look at a high school semester and say, what would be the first actions and steps a student should take with that paycheck? It's been a decade, but I am very excited and proud to share that's where I've been for the last 10 years since leaving football, is building this curriculum. Over the last few years, we've seen a lot of states say this content and subject needs to be a mandate in core curriculum. Right now, Money Vehicle is nationwide. We're in 20 plus states, 20,000 students, over 400 teachers using in class every day right now as we are talking. We train the trainers. We don't have accounts. We don't manage money. We are purely educators, no longer an advisor. But I will say that dream I had 17 years ago of I wish somebody would come back and teach. Last year, I got to teach in person over 1,000 professional athletes, not as their advisor, not as an accountant, but as a pure educator. Just got to work most recently with the Washington Wizards this weekend, my first NBA contract, but working with the National Women's Soccer, obviously a lot with the NFL. And truly today, that's all our goal is to help people speak money and start financial plans.
That's awesome. That's incredible. And so tell me a little bit more about, look, we've got a lot of people here. Who are some of the people that you'd love to meet and be introduced to? What types of backgrounds would be most useful for you?
So right now we're looking to connect with schools, high schools in particular. Obviously, we would take connections to colleges and groups like that, but high schools have a mandate, depending on which state you're in. Most recently, Michigan, Pennsylvania, California, Florida, Ohio. All of those now are saying to graduate high school, you have to go through a class that looks just like the one I and our team has spent a decade building. So if you have any connections to a school, we would welcome that because we have the best curriculum out there. We just aren't, the best at marketing and doing all that. The other one, if possible, would be financial institutions or professional athletes, nonprofits who want to support this movement. We have a 501c3. We work with plenty of professional athletes foundations to bring this programming. We know school's first hurdle is cost. So can we eliminate that? And then it's standards and technology and integration. And I can do all those answers, but it would be connection to people who are in schools. And Mark already excited that somebody said we're going to be connected there. And then the other one would be, hey, this seems like a good national kind of problem that we are trying to solve. We want to come and support it from a bank, credit union, or from a foundation's perspective.
Would it make sense for there's a reason I'm asking for a wealth manager or someone in that space to have someone like you kind of on hand to maybe help with some of that overall financial literacy? I mean, most of the people in the wealth space are brilliant people, especially Cory. But is it something where, I mean, it needs to be taught more to the masses, or is it something where you would, or would you on the flip side maybe refer people to someone like Cory? How would it work?
I get them at the start, and honestly, they can connect with Jed, but mostly we connect them to Money Vehicle, which is the company and the curriculum of the program. And our goal is to get them to a step where they need people like Cory. Nobody starts with that first paycheck and says, I need somebody to help me. But as they progress down the road, so Money Vehicle, we call our curriculum the first mile of money. The second, third, the 100th mile, that is when you start needing expert advice and guidance. So no, we connect them, plug them into the program, whether they want the printed book, which actually 2025, kind of a retro, people are ordering books again, which is interesting, or the completely asynchronous virtual programming. But we handle that first mile, those first questions, get that foundation. So one day they can meet people like Dr. Procter down here and be able to sort out the next phase of their plan.
Awesome. That's a great segue.
That's good. That's how I was teeing up. I was like, enough of me. Go.
I had no idea Cory was a doctor. Anyways,
it sounds good.
It does sound very good, doesn't it? Cory, so you played several seasons. You retired maybe a couple years sooner than or before Jed, but I love your story, and it's you've really created something. I mentioned to you privately that I truly appreciate your posts. There's a lot of insight going on in that head of yours, and I'm always impressed with it. But tell me a little bit about your experience when you decide, okay, well, I can't play the sport anymore, or no one's paying me anymore, that sort of thing, to what you're doing now.
Oh, sure. A side note, my dad has been a lifelong veterinarian, so I've heard Dr. Procter my whole life, actually. So it's pretty good. But Jed, we got to connect after this. We just haven't. But I lots of schools down here, man. But we need I just talked to one that was talking about wanting financial literacy. So I was thinking about you the other day about this. But the transition for me, I think, unless guys are doing pre-planning for that, it's hard for everybody. And so, for me, it was because I didn't really think much. I was probably like most young guys who were young and dumb, and all I thought about was playing ball and making the team purely. And I didn't want to think about anything else. And that's probably a little bit of my gripe with communication to young guys today that are trying to play ball is, they hear the doom and gloom where you're going to hurt and it's going to be over. Well, I don't want to hear that. I'm trying to make the team right now, right? Where usually I like to speak into the vision of somebody, is especially young men, is we our vision is making Pro Bowl, making the contracts, and being the starter or whatever. And or if you're like us in that situation, Jed, we're trying to scour, like, hey, what team can I make? Because these guys suck over here. That's my vision. It's just making the team and getting back again. And so, I like to speak to that, especially when it comes to somebody's life. And so, but for me, initially I got into, I had a lot of surgeries. I tried to come back. It didn't work. And so I ended up finishing on my degree, and my degree was in psychology, was nothing financial. But I got into, I was in sales. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. So I got into 4 years at this company out of Atlanta. It was a beverage company that ended up selling to a lot of gyms. And it was a great learning season for me because I really had to learn how to communicate with people outside of football. And I found out really quick, nobody cares about your time playing. When it comes to bringing value to somebody else, they don't care. It's interesting, and I like that for you, but what does that have to do for me right now, right? And so I had to learn how to basically dismiss that, and it became a whole lot more powerful after somebody became a client where they were like, "You never told me you played for the Dallas Cowboys," right? And then it was really cool because now you were considered this humble person who left it out and try to bring value into a different place. And I learned that actually in the league also afterwards was, the league, they care about you for this time frame for as a player. They still care about you. They just don't have a job for you as a player afterwards. And so when I started showing value away from football as a player into a different segment, that's when they started becoming attractive to me to spoke at NFL HQ this last March, and the Cowboys have brought me back for the last 6 years to talk to the rookies every year. And it's purely just share my story. And so it was really cool. But after that sales place, I ended up starting, and a big part of it was my faith, me trying to grind through what the heck I was involved in my life. But I ended up starting my own wealth management company called Pro Capital. And it was based off my story. I got sued as a kid. I rear-ended a lady in our Suburban, and she filed suit, and my folks filed for bankruptcy a year later. And so lost the house and the vehicles. And so when I was coming into the league, we've all been in that situation where everybody's trying to pitch you their stuff and grab your money. And that really didn't interest me. And I ended up with a really great lady out of Wisconsin, conflict of interest. I married her daughter. Okay. So she never preached it on me at all, but it became, when I found my faith, this became a reoccurring thing. And all it was I basically set out to learn about my own portfolios and my own financial life. Exactly what Jed is doing right now, right? He's teaching it and he's feeding it to the minds that want to eat it up. And so I was one of those minds. And so I asked all the stupid questions that led to some really smart ones. And it led to the business, which was it's financial planning with a focus in asset protection. So our focus became, which you would think would be athletes, which ended up not being. We have some athletes, but our focus purely became entrepreneurs, people that looked like me that were building their business. And so we have minimums that we hold to, but it was those people that they know the fickle business of their world, and that it can go up and down and it's delicate, but it needs to be protected. And so we help them build it away and protect the baby and make sure it can get stolen or taken away somehow. So it's that became our really big focus. And so, we just ended up growing from there, and it's been really powerful. So I'm thankful, man. My wife and my kids are a big part of it, and we're continuing to grow the team. And so, it's been a really awesome journey for us that God has brought us through to ultimately lead to a really, really fruitful area.
So 2 separate questions. The first one is, you mentioned that your mother-in-law or future mother-in-law had a conflict of interest. Was the conflict that she was conflicted with you, or?
Yeah, that was definitely part of it, for sure.
And then secondly is, so going forward, who are some of the intros? Who are the types of people you'd love to, what would be helpful for you in your business?
Sure. There's 2. One we have a huge goal this year to double revenue. So we figure 10 families. If we're able to help 10 families, we can get that. So those kinds of people, we have $1 million in investable assets to be able to manage on our side. We don't require everything. I don't necessarily encourage that because I don't like the fragmentation of someone's financial life. But we serve those entrepreneurs that are growth minded, they're family oriented, and they want to delegate. And so like our best people, they were like, they want to know, but they don't care about getting into the weeds real crazy. So we have to manage their entire balance sheet. And so that's a big one. And then number 2, we're trying to grow here. So that's bringing on advisors, maybe somebody who's not at their place and they want to be trained up and they don't feel like they're getting the training where they're at. And so I kind of set out a different path on this. I actually interviewed with a whole lot of large wirehouses and insurance firms before I really jumped into this, and all were reputable, all had good things to say. but were captive, meaning if I left in a year, those clients couldn't come with me. And I didn't want that. And so I kind of started backwards, the independent route. And where we're at it, we back office through a broker dealer. We're right now transitioning into a full RIA away from that. And so that'll happen, that transition over the next 2 years ish, that full book. But it's been a great place. So anybody who's in the industry that wants to go produce, or they love internally, which would be around DFW. So we actually have a franchise model that we built out, that if we have somebody in another state, we can help them build their business from that spot.
Perfect. Love it, Cory. Truly appreciate it. And Mike, you're up, but in a sec. But I'm going to ask one final question of each of you. But Michael, so Michael was a Pro Bowl kicker with the Jaguars mostly for most of his career. Played for, I think it was, let me see here, 49 years. Is that true? 49, right? And I still appreciate the fact that you came back at the age of, it was 112 or whatever it was, to try out again in a couple of years ago. That was really cool. Good for you. And you'll tell more about that. But Michael also runs the Proform Kicking Academy, and he's also a brand ambassador with 3, which is a wellness product. So Michael, tell me a little bit about when you were, look, you started the Kicking Academy, but I know that you were looking for something else, something new. And I know you landed with 3, but tell me a little bit about that time that you were kind of looking for that. What's that next great thing? And then when you landed on this, if you could.
Well, in all honesty, I didn't prepare myself well at all in the NFL for post-retirement, because I thought that I'd be playing for a million years, right? So I was one of those guys, but of course, I had 4 back surgery, so that kind of hindered my ability to play as long as I could. But when I retired, I wish I would have known Jed back then, and wish I would have had that information provided to me, because I was not very good with my money. Of course, I retired in 2004, and then had about 3 or 4 different properties. So real estate was like a no-brainer. Everyone did it, right? Well, then 2008 hit, and then I went through a divorce, and so I lost a lot of money on real estate that was a very safe investment. So I'm right out of the gate just failing, right? So it was a tough one. I really wanted to follow my passion. So that's where it led me to my Kicking Academy. And I'm an entrepreneur by heart. And I started my Kicking Academy in 2007. And so I'm very passionate about teaching the stuff that I was taught and was very successful at. I was talking to the group before we started here with this chat, but about, how important it is for kids to understand there's always a right way, a proper way of doing certain skills. And with kicking, I was not a very big guy, not very athletic, but I was able to do things that were just as good or better than some of the guys that were twice my size, my athletic ability. So my Kicking Academy was the passion that I had. So I've always hung on. I'm almost 19 years later now, so I've hung on to that one. Literally just got off the field coaching. That's why I'm wearing my shirt. But I literally, getting into just kind of your question as far as what I wanted to do, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. That was another problem. Like, I don't know what I want to do. So obviously the kicking thing, and then and that wasn't really paying all the bills. I still had things from that I needed to pay and do just normal everyday life stuff. I became a big boy and put on my big boy pants, and now I have to be responsible for myself, really. But that, and especially after the divorce, I still was struggling with what I wanted to do besides my Kicking Academy. And so I dabbled in a bunch of little things here and there, but I stumbled across a company called 3 International about almost 2 years ago, because the company will be two years old on the 20th of this month. And my other passion is just health and wellness, right? Mark, you mentioned I played a game for the Jacksonville Sharks. It's our local indoor football team, NAL football team. So it is a professional football team. I played a game for them 2 years ago, and I'm 52 right now. So at the age of 50, I played a game. That's all my body wanted or could do, because I was shot after that game. I kicked the ball 22 times in one game, so I was not experienced.
What?
Yes, 22 times.
Why? For extra points and all kinds of stuff?
Yeah, kickoffs, extra points, tons of. Yeah. So with that said, I know that with health and wellness, I'm trying to prolong my life as well as I can, and I just enjoy feeling good. I went through my divorce. I felt bad. I put on some weight. I got a little chubby, a little out of shape. Last thing I want to do is go work out or eat healthy, and I felt like crap, and my back hurt, and that was the big reason. Like, man, I kind of realized that, hey, I need to be in shape. I need to be active for my back not to hurt. So that's an incentive for me to kind of take care of myself, clearly. So Health and wellness became a passion of mine. And then when I was introduced to this company, 3 International, it's like, wow, for all these times I've been taking supplements and things, proteins and vitamins and just different supplementation I've been taking. And I didn't realize how poor the absorption level is on those. There's a lot of stuff on the marketplace right now. Not only are they synthetically made, but the absorption is horrible. And so a lot of the times, if you hear a classic example, like it happens to me too, or happened to me, where you take what you thought was a strong multivitamin, go to the bathroom a couple hours later and look how bright yellow the toilet water is. And you're like, wow, that was a strong vitamin. It's actually quite the opposite. It was weak. You're looking at it. It's now become toilet water because it went right through you. And so when this company 3 was introduced to me, the first thing that jumped out at me was the absorption, the bioavailability. We specialize in cellular absorption delivery technologies. We use 12. No company in the world has 12. There's a couple out there that are meant, for public use, liposomal delivery technologies out there, enzyme micronizations out there. Companies are starting to use them now. But we have 10 of those 12 that we use are exclusive to our company because of our chief scientific officer has patents on those. So we're getting great quality, plant-based, nutritional, medicinal. By the way, we're in the PDR. If anybody knows the significance of the physician's desk reference, it's actually called the prescriber's digital reference now. You'll understand. And for you, Jed and Cory, our former NFL HRA account, if you guys still have access to your HRA account, I'm getting my anti-inflammatory products for free because I'm using that to reimburse me, my HRA account. So that's what I'm saying. If it's legitimate enough for the NFL to sign off on it and reimburse us for the payments for those, I know the things are working, and primarily it's because they're in the PDR. So we specialize in cellular absorption delivery technologies, high quality, plant phytonutrient rich plant material that's grown in the northern jungles of Thailand, which the soil there is perfect for that. The environment's perfect for that. So again, I'm super happy because now I found my lifelong, as far as supplements that I take on a daily basis. I joined the company in March of 2023, and I've not missed a single day of taking every single product that the company offers. And I feel like a champ. I feel great.
So I'll tell you why I know. I mean, I believe every word you say. He's one of these guys that, you used to see pictures of him and he was either alone or depressed or, walking quietly by a stream or something. And now every picture is like him with all these beautiful people around him everywhere. He's, on a yacht somewhere in a big house or something like that. And that's impressive. But secondly is that, whenever I see someone talking with that much excitement, the 3 of you all spoke very excitedly about what you're doing. And, as a career and business coach, there's no greater joy I have than when I see people who are fully engaged and really love what they're doing. And, I believe very strongly that everybody here and everybody everywhere should be waking up every morning excited about what they do and excited about the impact that they are making. And if you're not feeling that way, obviously I'm happy to talk to you and help you get towards that. But you 3 gentlemen are absolutely there. All right. So thanks for that, Mike. I really appreciate it. And, when we bounce back to the tables in a couple minutes, I just want to make sure that everybody has a chance to talk to the 3 of you and really make some introductions that can be helpful to each of you guys. That'd be great. So last question real quick. Jed, Sunday, who do you care about or not?
I mean, the Eagles kicked off my career. I didn't get to be an Eagle for very long, but the Chiefs also cut me. So no, I don't care. My daughters are interested because Taylor Swift will be there. So that gives me a little excuse to watch more of the game.
So because you teach financial literacy, I'm assuming you have 50 grand on the game or 100 grand, or what do you like? At least 50%.
Number one most requested topic from our teachers, again, 400 teachers nationwide, was, can you talk about sports betting? All of our students are doing it. So as of August, we will have gambling and sports betting in the money vehicle curriculum. Good. Not how to do it, but how it impacts your opportunity cost, your habit, and where it fits in your cash management system. So excited to continue to build it. But
that's
great. This is a great game. Always a good atmosphere.
It's funny that you mentioned that a second ago, because real quick, several years ago, I was in LA for a couple of events, and one of the guys was the the Rams player development guy. And he was telling me that what they used to do, I don't know if they still do it, but they would bring the rookies all into a conference room, and they would have a guy, like a Brinks guy, kind of a guy, bring in a wheelbarrow, and it was filled with $1 million cash. And he put it on the table, and everyone, of course, these guys are all like, wow, 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 wow. And then he'd take a shovel and basically go like this. They'd go, 62% taxes or whatever, 12% this, X% that's your agent, this, and then there's, of course, these guys are all seeing all the money go back into the wheelbarrow, and they're like, wait, what's left? And it was something like 68 grand out of $1 million was what they should be playing with, or something like that. And yeah, go ahead, Jed.
I gotta head out, but Mark, this
Yeah.
is awesome. Look
Yeah.
forward to connecting and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks, Jed. Appreciate it, buddy. Cory, who do you want, or do you care?
Who do I want?
Sunday, yeah, the Super Bowl.
Oh, I want the Eagles. Even though I play for the Cowboys, NFC East, I want the Eagles. I got ties in KC, so I love those guys too. But I mean, like where I'm right now, I'm not like an rabid fan of anywhere. I just like good ball. That's it.
Yeah, no, and it's been except for me as a Giants fan, it's been a great season. Otherwise, I mean, there's been a lot of excitement. Sadly, a lot of injuries and that sort of stuff. I mean, that always happens, but that's why I'm such a passionate supporter of NeuroGuard, because anything that I see that comes along that can dramatically reduce the risk of a concussion is a great thing. So hopefully that gets bigger. We'll be down on Thursday down in New Orleans trying to get the word out at a couple of events, the TPI event and the Steinberg event. But thanks for that. Michael, how about you?
Well, since I've seen so much of the Chiefs and I've seen so much of the so many of the penalties that were not called, or that actually were called, on roughing the passer and Mahomes, I'm not a big fan of the Chiefs anymore because I'm just tired of seeing all that. So go Eagles.
What's funny is I told my friends that are Eagle fans, I said, you don't need to beat the Chiefs, you need to beat the refs.
Exactly. You see all the memes out there right now about the.
Oh yeah. Well, there's the one. Oh my God, what are they called on Instagram? It's like Real Dockery or something. But they've got these hilarious things where they show a clip of like Mahomes doing this stuff, and then the refs and then they do their own version when they show Mahomes running, and then the refs are like, "Don't you touch him!" Like telling everybody, "Don't touch him," or whatever it is, or they're like got the flag out, ready to throw it, and everything else. It's pretty funny. Anyways, well, look, we're going to jump back to the tables. I want you guys to have a chance to chat with some folks and sort of drill down a little bit more about what's keeping you busy. And Mike, between the wellness products, those sound awesome, and Cory, the way your focus on really being kind of very strategic about how you go into the financial planning aspect. I think that's both great. So, gentlemen, I appreciate your time today for sure, and I'll see you back at the table. Thanks so much.
Thank you.